it's that time of the week where I get to push the buttons and make the music happen. Welcome back to the Golf Rules Questions podcast for episode, what I believe is episode 27. Still going at it strong and still the only Golf Rules Questions podcast in Australia. So therefore, we still have another week officially as the number one leading and prolific Golf Rules Questions podcast in Australia. Blakey, welcome back to you. How are you, sir?
Very good. Yes, episode 27, very jam-packed, full of everything going on at Torrey Pines. And I was also, that was a reference to your My Love of Golf podcast released last night. But I was also let know by one of our good followers, David McLegan, that we are the number one Australian Golf Rules podcast trending in Canada as well.
Well, hello to all of you listening in Canada, all the golfers out there, probably in some parts of the country not playing golf at the moment. I think it's been snowing a bit in some parts of Canada, but welcome to all of our Canadian Golf Rules aficionados up there. Thanks for joining us on board. Love to hear from you. If you do want to drop us a line, where can people drop you a line, Blakey? Email?
Yeah, email golfrules.questions@gmail.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. And if they don't get me, they can always get in touch with you, and you'll let me know.
Have we started any TikTok action yet?
Yes, TikTok. They can get me on TikTok. That's a funny one. There is some strange. They have no idea about the rules of golf, and it is very strange on TikTok.
Now, you alluded to it's been a bit busy week in the world of golf rules. What's been happening? I don't know. What's going on? Isn't it just a normal episode where we go through a few questions, try and tell a couple of funny or unfunny jokes, talk about some pictures? Has anything happened?
Well, it is normal because one of the players is back to his old tricks, and that blew the golf world up. So we're definitely going to talk about that in this podcast, as most people would be expecting us to talk about it.
So that was me already leading in with the unfunny joke there, because of course it's been an outrageous week in the world of golf. We did talk about it on the My Love of Golf podcast, and thanks for mentioning that. And we are going to sit here and have a one-on-one deep dive into what everyone knows as Reedgate, the Patrick Reed scenario, the imbroglios that surround Patrick Reed and his life. And it's just insane that we are here talking about it again. Sad in some respects that we are talking about a continuation of rules infractions or rules questionable behaviors for one of the tours and one of the world's leading golfers. So it's a shame in many respects, because I know your intent is for everyone to uphold the rules of the game with the ease that you provide the information. That's why we're here. But the Patrick Reed scenario at Torrey Pines, the Farmers Open last weekend, has left the golf world aghast, has set the social media world alight. I think there's been some legal action or something like that happening about Twitter accounts in the past 24 hours. I don't know the full details on that, but let's just get straight to it, Blakey. You are the referee, European Tour experienced, US Tour experienced, obviously Australian Tour experienced. You lead in. What happened? Thoughts of your colleagues. Where do we go?
Shall we do the answer for the Golf Rules question of the week, episode 26?
Oh, no, let's hit the headlines first, and we'll come back to that. We can come back to that. I'm sure people are more willing to want to cover this first. I'm still worked up about it. I thought I got my worked up about it out last night with Rocket and your good self, and thanks for joining us. I get to talk about it again. I can feel the tension sort of levitating a little bit more, if that's the right word. Sorry to Ivor if it's not, but I can feel
getting a bit hot under the collar.
I can just feel the frustration that we're sitting having to talk about it.
Yeah, well, it was a relatively simple ruling that Mr. Reid made complicated, basically. He should have called the referee in before he even marked and touched his ball. Not because he couldn't have done it himself. There was no issue there. It was just, it looked terrible when he does it himself because people just don't trust him. And that's a really sad situation and character to have, to be labeled, basically labeled a cheat. It's unfortunate.
So do you think that that's the reason why he doesn't do that? You know, he plays by the same way that Rory McIlroy handled the situation, a very similar way. He didn't handle it the same way. Sorry, I'll retract that. But Rory McIlroy handled a similar situation his way, where he didn't have to call in a rules official to do the action. But you know what you're suggesting there is Patrick Reed should, and by his own actions and the label that we all know of him, has to, but he doesn't. It doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you? Because in your back of your mind, that people are going to be watching this. But then he doesn't, thinking, well, because he believes that he's doing the right thing, and then what he does is totally farcical. So it's bizarre. It really is bizarre.
If it hadn't have bounced, I don't think people would question it as much either, because it was a soft conditions there. They were playing preferred lies for a few of the rounds. And so it was obviously soft conditions enough for that. It was just the fact that it bounced. Now, as I have mentioned, and it's common that, a ball can embed on the bounce, and you can take free relief for a ball that has embedded on the bounce. It was just where his shot came out and landed and how it bounced, and you're just thinking, yeah, how did that thing embed?
So just to clarify, so point one, if your ball is embedded, whether you're PGA Tour, European Tour, Hooters Tour, or Mornington Peninsula Tour, you don't have to call in a referee if you've got access to one. You don't have to call across your playing partner to observe you taking relief from an embedded ball. You don't have to do that. You can decide that your ball is embedded, mark the ball, and take the appropriate relief. That is the fact, correct?
Yeah, Rule 16.4 allows you to mark and lift your ball if you believe that you can get free relief from a condition that your ball is sitting in, such as an embedded ball, such as an animal hole, deep wheel mark if there's a local rule in play, other sort of GUR or abnormal course conditions, temporary water even. That's what 16.4 allows, as long as it's reasonable. You have reasonable belief that you're in a condition that you get free relief from. Now, if you find out that you're not in a condition that that you're going to get free relief, you just replace your ball, no penalty. If you didn't have reasonable belief, you're going to get a penalty for causing your ball to move. But Patrick did have reasonable belief. It was just whether the ball actually was embedded before he lifted it. Only Patrick will know that.
Mm. And then the second point of, just for absolute clarification, and it seemed to be a point of conjecture on the Twitter sphere that, the ball bounced. So if the ball bounces, it can't embed. Well, as you've rightly said, it can. And there, we've all probably had an example if, the ball bouncing, whether it bounces up, you can see it bouncing, then it lands back into its own plug mark or embedded mark. That's quite common. Or it might skid and then hit an upslope of a part of the terrain, and it can embed there. That has happened. So the ball can bounce and then embed in its own mark, and which therefore you're entitled to relief. So the strange part about this scenario that he brought upon himself was he's walking up and asking straight away, did the spotter Did you see the ball bounce? And then he asked his playing partner and the caddies, did you see the ball bounce? Now, okay, they didn't see the ball bounce. So he continued to act and put his hand deep into the grass and then pulled the ball out and carted it off to the side, threw it down on the grass somewhere else, which was a strange act. And that's what the commentating, Sir Nick Faldo and his team sort of really went at. It was just a strange act.
It was strange. There was nothing that he did wrong. I must reiterate that, but it was strange. And because he's got form in this kind of area, it doesn't look great.
So you think if his ball's embedded and he picks it up, he's marked it, of course, and it's got mud on the ball. He can clean that, yeah.
If he's getting free relief under an embedded ball, 16.3, then yes, he's permitted to clean the ball, or he can even substitute another ball in.
Okay. So let's run through this scenario. He's still not sure. He's obviously now decided that he's going to call a referee and to check that if it is embedded. So he's allowed to mark the ball and lift it out to see if it's embedded, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What do you think most players do in that situation? So he's now called a referee across. What do you think most players do with the ball? They haven't decided. They're asking for a ruling. Now, in club golf, it may be your playing partner that you do call across in this scenario because you are maybe unsure and you just want to get the comfort of knowing. So what do you do with the ball? So you haven't been granted relief yet. We haven't agreed that it is relief. What do you do with the ball? I know what I do.
Possibly put it back in the hole.
Okay, there's two scenarios. So the one scenario is you've already lifted it out, and then you can place it back in and say, this is how I found it. What do you think? I've lifted it up and I've put it back, and that's all I've touched. Or if you don't put it back, what do you do with the ball? I know what I do. I'll tell you. I hold it in my two fingers, and I do not let it touch anything else. Yeah. So likely it's coming out with some mud on it. Yeah, and we're not sure. It might have dirt on it, but I don't make any attempt or any way, shape, or form of cleaning it until I know that I'm going to get relief.
Yeah, that's fair. You do see this happen where players will put it down on the ground. You're more likely to see this if they're picking it up because it's interfering with someone else's play, say in a bunker or in the general area.
So they pick it up and just move it and not touch it. And I get that.
And I get that too.
On a fairway and they don't touch it and my hand, there's no touching here.
That's right.
He sort of drops it and throws it into the long grass.
Yeah, I think he sort of semi-places it. But yeah, there is a possibility of mud rolling off when it goes into the grass, but hopefully that wasn't his intention, and he was for all intents and purposes, we think that he's trying to do the right thing, but
maybe I'm just being too harsh and trying to, point more arrows at him than he should be. I did have a little bit of empathy that he sort of tried to handle it the right way, but it's just when you look and you listen, it's just he's handled it totally the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. He looks like he's trying to do the right thing, but there's so many little things there that make it look so smelly.
Mm. And he's rightly, I guess not questioned by it, but the interview at the end of the round, they covered it off, and he gave a fairly curt and concise account of it, of what he believed was the situation. And he made a joke at the end of that particular interview. He said he went on and made a par after that, and whatever, and just moved on. And and moving on for him ultimately led to winning the tournament and a significant cash prize for that. So should we have a listen to some of the audio that I'm sure everyone's heard it several times, but should we just have a little listen to
Yeah, the audio that I put the video up on YouTube, but it got blocked.
That shows the popularity of the Golf Rules Questions YouTube site, growing YouTube site. We have started the country, New South Wales, not New South Wales. New South Wales is my home state where my father is based, and I'm missing him because he was supposed to come down, but he's hopefully going to come down soon now that the borders are back open. Hello to all the people in New South Wales listening. It is my home state originally, but Victoria is my home state now. No, we have started the Victorian tour, and it was off to Lonsdale Links, as we discussed last week. That was for the achievement of the benchmark of 3,000 followers. What's the next benchmark again, Blakey?
5,000, we go to Tassie.
Tassie?
Tasmania for those outside of Australia.
Okay, and then 10,000?
10,000 was New Zealand.
Yep.
And I think it was, you said 30. I couldn't remember if it was 20 or 30. And that's to the UK, and that would be great if we got to the UK because we've got a lot of listeners and fans over there.
Fans. That's a nice way to think about it. Listeners, fans. Very good. That's we're sort of like asking you to follow the YouTube channel. That's our version of a GoFundMe, isn't it? We're not funding, but we're just putting a little personal goal in front of ourselves. Anyway, let's get back to the Patrick Reed. If you haven't followed the YouTube, please go on and drop the videos a message. But the fact that the PGA Tour block Blakey's videos, he sends me a message. I'll tell you, I'll bring you behind the curtain here, people. Some of the messages that he sends me when they block his video, it's sort of mixed with pride and a lot of frustration, because they usually are getting a lot of eyeballs. And, I think he's secretly happy that the PGA Tour are recognising the fact that these are being blocked, but very frustrated because the fans aren't getting to see the education. So anyway.
Well, they didn't block because we're going to talk about Viktor tonight. We're going to talk about Brooks. We're going to actually have another incident with Patrick Reed during the fourth round. They haven't blocked any of those. It's just this one because it was creating so much fuss.
Let's have a listen. Let's see if we can bring this up pretty quick.
Okay, found this ball over here. Talk about the lift clean in place, though, that's in effect again, even today on a sunny day, Nick.
Yeah, it's a huge help. They were unable to get the mowers onto the fairways last night or this morning. They've had 4+ inches of rain, 1.5 inches yesterday. So that's why they added another day of lift clean in place.
So let me bring Ken. Ken, I'm going to bring you in right away. Tell me what Patrick's able to do with this situation.
Right here, he is just determining if his ball is embedded or not. So he's looking to see if it's actually below the surface of the ground. Sometimes in this deep rough, it'll nest, and it seems like that it's embedded, but he'll get clarity here from a rules official.
Well, it looks like he's already picked the ball up, Ken, because there's the golf ball. Was that at his original spot? That's maybe the missing link to get him in the winner's circle.
It said it didn't bounce, and so I checked it. And
there you go. So we've just cut that short, but now he was starting to tell the official what happened. Said it didn't bounce. I checked it. You know what? I was thinking about this, and we have talked about the scenario before. Wouldn't happen on the European Tour. Yeah, like the checking, the bouncing and all of that sort of thing, because you know why? Radar would be down there, and they'd be on the radios to radar telling him it did bounce, it bounced there and nestled in there. They would have already had that clarified. If he walks up there going, it didn't bounce, did it bounce? Radar would have been on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, Patrick was at the top of the leaderboard. If he was 50th on the leaderboard, would the camera be there watching him? No. So, when you're up the top of the lead, the camera's going to be around. That's what we want to see. We want to see the leaders.
So how do we wrap this up, this part of the discussion? Because I think, we've given a fair account of what you can and can't do, given if you're faced with a similar situation. and I think there were some myths around what he shouldn't have done. And we've clarified that. Rory McIlroy, do you want to just give everyone the heads up on the situation that Rory McIlroy faced on the 18th?
Yeah, so Rory had a very similar situation. His ball did bounce as well, and he's hit a second shot. The 18th is a par 5, hit a second shot from the right-hand side, sort of gone over the trees, and then landed in the rough, maybe 50 short, something like that. He gets up there. Rory Sabatini is playing. One of the group members is walking down the fairway. Rory says, I'm just going to check to see if this is embedded. 2 Rorys playing with each other. Puts his tee down, picks it up, believes it's embedded, doesn't call a referee in. Asks Sabatini whether it was a club length or drop as near as possible to the spot where it embedded. That's what it used to be. Now it's a club length from the spot directly behind where the ball was at rest. Drops his ball, plays a shot, doesn't think anything further of it. Are we getting into, worried about Rory? No, because we know that Rory is good with the rules. He's good with the spirit of the game, upholds the rules and has integrity and honesty. So once there's smoke and a little bit of fire, it keeps following people. So the main message here is it's so easy not to cheat. So be a good person, be a good golfer, and don't.
Yes, you don't want to be maligned with that. And I would think that we've all experienced playing at our clubs, if we are like club golfers or social golf for that fact, with people who don't know the rules or uphold the rules with the highest degree of integrity. It's not a nice situation to have to be a part of and deal with and address. It is very uncomfortable. And, I have one clear recollection of it happening. I can't remember the chap's name, nor would I name him, but, these people don't tend to stay at clubs very long. And you hear these stories circulating clubland. But this one particular person was playing, teed off the first hole, the brand new golf ball, got to the second hole, and at Mornington there was a part of the second hole where sometimes you would hit practice balls too. You might hit drivers off the first tee and hit them towards the practice range, and they'd end up sort of between the second and the third if you know the course. So this particular day there was a whole stack of balls around there, and he had hooked his ball off the tee, walked up to this area where there were several balls, and claimed to find his ball. He hit the ball. The next shot was a duff. We get to the green, and I know that he hadn't found his ball, and he hit a practice ball. He was hitting a Titleist, and I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to find out that my hunch was sure. And he putted in, and I almost Kevin Na style walked his putt in and grabbed it out of the hole and handed it back to him. And when I handed it back to him, it wasn't a new Pro V1. It was an old, it was pre-Titleist Professional. It was, when the wound balls used to go off and you had to, like hollow sound when you tap the casing of the ball. It was that. I said, "Oh, that's an old Titleist." He said, "Yeah, I changed it back on the second tee. I didn't want to use the new ball on this hole, so I changed it back on the second tee." Lies. Played the third hole. We got to the fourth. He once again hit his ball left. He pulled out, and I can't remember if he announced hitting a provisional. I think he did, but no, he didn't. He didn't. That's right. He didn't. We didn't call him on at the time because whatever. You get down there, and he hit 2 balls. One was dead. One was in play, and we found both balls. Guess what?
Well,
guess what? Have a guess.
They were the same, no marking.
They were the same ball, no marking. So he had gone away from the old duddy one that he was really a practice ball. And he said, "Yeah, that's it. That's my one there." How do you know? Oh, because that's the one. And that was it for me. I nearly went home.
Well, you know the myth that does the rounds similar to that story, where the guy hits off the tee on a par 3, thinks it goes over the back, gets down there, they're having a look, finds his ball, chips up, 2 putts, and then gets up on the green and putts or whatever, and then the other person finds a ball in the hole, and it's actually that person's ball.
Yeah, that's a reasonably well-known story, and it involves someone of a note in Victoria.
Yeah, like a club captain, and then that person gets kicked out of the club, basically.
That sort of thing. Well, that was probably the most, for me, that article, that scenario that I just recounted, and whether that's of any interest to you or not, sorry if we've, telling stories of, war stories. But it was, if anything, that's how it played out. And if you've got a hunch that things like that are playing out around you, well, your hunch is probably true. But it just wasn't nice to be part of. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to discuss it with him. I didn't know how to address it with the match committee. Not that there was really much of a match committee there. I didn't even know if there was a match committee where I was playing. It was at Mornington, a long time ago. And it was just awkward to be part of. And it sort of put me off. It put me off for the rest of the game. I didn't know what to do. And anyway, I got over it in the end. Here I am talking about the golf rules. Who would have ever thought it? So what's next? Should we just continue on, or should we go back to and do the golf rules questions of the week from episode 26? Just have a little bit of break from the Patrick Reed and Broglio scenario and just travesty.
Yeah, we should go back and answer the question from episode 26. This is actually one of the most popular segments on the internet, basically.
How do you know that?
Just keyword search, golf rules question of the week.
Okay. Does it spike in the YouTube? Yeah, okay.
It's like similar to Taylor Swift and flying to the moon and Tesla.
Fair enough. That's pretty good. I was just thinking about this whole scenario, like we're saying here, joking about 10,000 followers going to 20,000 followers going to Scotland. Now, we're banking on a couple of things that people listen to us, and we're banking on that the COVID no travel period is going to happen. I'd love to be faced with the situation of people just for a joke, wanting to press us on going to Scotland. Right, we got you to 20,000, off you go. I would have no greater pride if that happened, and I got to drive you in a rental car around Scotland to play some golf. And if something made it go viral and we got 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we could fly, we would be there. I don't care what it would take. I would do it.
I was going to say we're averaging about 200 a month. So to get to 5,000, we might be there by the end of the year. To get to 10,000, it might take us 2 years, and to get to Scotland, it might be 5 years. So we need to increase the rate of the subscribers. So, if you're out there, sign your mum up, sign your sister up, sign your kid that's only 4 years old, hates golf up. That's another account for us that works.
If you sign your kid that's 4 years old up, by the time we get there, they'll be 9 or 10 or whatever. They'll be really interested in golf, because the thing that excites me is not only playing golf, but the thought of sitting down with microphones in Kilspindie Clubhouse, for example, where there's a couple of guys there, they're probably there every week, and they're from the same part of Edinburgh as my dad. They went to a similar school at different ages. That sort of thought for me is sitting around having a conversation around the golf rules with guys in places like that. Just, I could think of nothing more satisfying in my life and world of golf than to take this and sit down in places like that. And there is so much history. It just excites me at the thought about it. So yeah, if you
along those lines, I just want to chip around with a sandwich while eating a sandwich at Sandwich.
Yeah, okay, that's in England. I've actually not played golf in England, so that does interest me as well. But the draw of Scotland is always present in my life. Thanks to my background, thanks to my wife's family and her background. I'm married to a good Scottish girl, so it's a very big constant in my life, and I'm very proud of my Scottish heritage, as everyone can tell. It was anything to do with me, and the thought of going back there and doing something like this is exciting. But I'd love to go to Sandwich and eat a sandwich with chip around with a Sam wedge.
We should probably if we're going to get to these 20,000, we should probably get back to our main focus, which is
golf rules question of the week.
The rules of the golf.
So the question was, if two people hit the golf ball onto the green at the same time, and the balls collide in the same place, what happens after that?
Yeah, so it's stroke play. Rule 11.1, both balls are to be played as they lie.
Okay.
If one goes in the hole, no, that one was at rest, so I can't really give you that as an example. I was thinking 16 at Augusta a few years ago when Louis Oosthuizen had a hole-in-one off JB Holmes' ball, but JB Holmes' ball was at rest. No, so these two are in motion. Because they were shots from off the green, you just play the balls as they lie when they come to rest. It would be different if one or both balls were put into motion from a stroke on the putting green.
Okay, what would you do there?
The ball that was on the putting green when the stroke was made and would be cancelled and replaced and replayed. And if both were on the putting green, then both balls would be cancelled, replaced, and replayed.
There you go.
No penalty.
Okay, so we're going back to some audio now. With once again, we'll go to Patrick Reed. Correct?
Yep. This is last round, 16th hole. He was leading by 4 at this stage. Had the golf ball on a string. Had the golf tournament wrapped up, and this happened. Just a small incident, which is a change from 2 years ago.
Okay, let's have
3 years ago.
Let's roll the tape.
Now, we understand over at 16, Patrick Reed has just called for a ruling.
Jim, it appears the ball moved on the putting surface, and then give a shout to whoever might be nearby on the rules staff, and here they come.
Duddy, we're not going to forget this week for many of the occasion. He's been in the hot seat, I know that. Sadly, it takes away a lot from his ability on the golf course too. Wonderful player. But let's have a look. Put the coin there. Ball goes down. When you remove the coin,
so he places the ball down, takes his coin marker away, the ball moves. He gets told to put it back, yeah?
Yeah, once that ball, and this is really important distinction, once the ball has been, the words are lifted and replaced, once the ball's been lifted and replaced, but you're going to mark it first. Once it's been lifted and replaced, then that ball owns that spot. If you hit the ball onto the green, you're walking up there, you haven't lifted and replaced it yet, then the ball doesn't own the spot. And if the wind blows it into the hole, it's a hole-in-one, sort of, or, par 3. But because he'd lifted and replaced it, the ball owns that spot. The only way to get it away from that spot is by hitting it or by taking an unplayable.
Okay.
Next.
Did you think it was strange that he had to call in a referee for that? Or do you think that obviously during the circumstances of the previous day that, he had realized that he has to, call in a referee for anything?
I almost feel like he knows the rules, and he just knows also how to bend them. So he's like, I can't bend this one, so I'll just call the referee in, and that might get me some brownie points. But as if that's going to get any brownie points.
Well,
You know, he talks about pace of play the day before, and then he's not even worried about pace of play here. Although I think they were keeping up with the group in front, so they probably did have some time there anyway.
I can't remember who said it, but as the commentator says, it was a interesting week for him, and you know, it just detracts from the quality of player he is, because he is one of the best players in the world. He's very exciting to watch. He's a beautiful ball striker and can play the game. And anyway, it
was Frank Nobilo that said it, and it was funny because Frank actually went on to say what he thought the rule was, and he was wrong because he was quoting from prior to 2019.
Did you want to play that? Sorry.
No, it's fine. He's a New Zealander. I don't really want to embarrass him.
You know Frank? I
don't, but you know, he was a fantastic proponent of golf in our country.
Yeah, good President's Cup player as well. Okay, Brooks Koepka. This was an interesting one.
Love this one.
You love it. Sort of has a little bit of a difference to this week's Golf Rules question of the week, but let's roll the tape on Brooks Koepka.
On the tee at 16. Both Brooks.
This headed to the right here, Billy.
I was going to say both Brooks and Rory coming off bogey as Craig Perks rejoins the broadcast.
Did it fly in there? On the fly?
Was it on the fly? Was it on the fly?
Yeah,
it's on the fly. It was on the fly, yeah.
What's going on?
So it landed in the shoe.
Correct.
It landed right in the shoe on the back of the cart.
Brooks came in. They worked on strength. They worked on core stability, knee exercises, eccentric loading on that knee and the tendon. Remember, he had a hip issue as well, which was more degenerative. But he said the strengthening, the mobility in the spine, soft tissue work. He said I actually talked to Derek, and he said he'd never seen a golfer work as hard and determined to get back to full strength as for that month that Brooks Koepka was there late last October, and he continues to work diligently. And I think it's good for the psyche. When he can train like he wants, then it's going to help his golf game.
Okay, so it was good to hear Craig Perks tell us what Brooks has been up to health-wise, and we wish him all the best in his road back to reclaiming his rightful position at the upper echelon of the PGA Tour players. But he's whacked the ball off the tee, and interesting to me, the biggest concern seemed to be, did it happen on the fly? Was it on the fly? On the fly?
Yeah.
On the fly. Like, doesn't matter whether it was on the fly. Correct?
Spot on. I was a bit bemused by that as well.
But like, did it bounce? Did it bounce? Did it bounce? You see it bounce? You see it bounce?
Maybe they were thinking,
extra points. Yeah, extra points on the fly. Hey, you owe me. I got one in the back of the shoe, back of the cart, bag on a cart. I got extra points. Whatever.
No, I was thinking maybe they thought, if it was accidentally deflected or deliberately deflected, they might be able to drop it somewhere else or place it somewhere. I don't know what he was thinking, but it got there, and it doesn't matter how it got there. That's now right. They can take relief. Okay.
So what did they have to do? There seems to be a bit of waiting around there and a bit of referees' carts driving up and around. They once again, was it another scenario that could have been avoided by calling a referee and they just take relief from? Yeah.
Yeah, but this one's an interesting one, and I really enjoyed it because it's in the shoe, which is on the back of the cart. So that's a movable obstruction. So you can take relief under 15.2 because your ball is in or on a movable obstruction. So there's no placing. It's just a drop from the spot directly below where the balls come to rest. So and then you chuck the tee down, you watch the video, chuck the tee down underneath where the ball came to rest, move the cart out of the way, and then he's got one club length. But the thing is, it's also on a cart path. So it's on top of a cart path. So he could have actually taken relief from the cart path and not taken relief from the shoe, or he could have taken relief from the shoe and not the cart path, which is what he did. Or he could have taken relief from the shoe and then taken relief from the cart path, which is a lot of people said, oh, why is he still he took relief, but he's still standing on the cart path. Doesn't he have to take complete relief? No, he doesn't have to take complete relief because he took, he was taking relief from the shoe. That's why he didn't have to take complete relief from the cart path. That's the big difference. He had two conditions and he could choose to take either one, or one and then the other, the shoe and then the cart path. So he wanted to actually drop it quite close to the cart path because further away was thicker rough.
So just to unpack that, so the ball is on the cart, in the shoe. The cart is on the cart path. He gets released from the shoe. He could say, I'm taking relief from the shoe. My nearest point is here on the cart path. And then he can take full relief from the cart path, which, could have been a better position or could have been a worse position.
He would have to drop it first. So you can't just say, oh, it's in this relief area somewhere. He has to find it. And that would have been so annoying, because if he dropped it on the cart path and then it rolled off, drop it again, then rolled off, then he has to try and place it, blah, blah, blah. But it was good because it was just within the relief area of the shoe or the cart was the general area, and he was able to drop it there and it stayed pretty quick and it was good.
So could he take relief from the shoe because within a club length, because it was that the general area was within that proximity of the relief area was in the proximity of the ball and the shoe? Is that right?
I've lost you. So he could take, you're working out the spot directly below where the ball came to rest. That was in let's just say it was in the cart.
Yep. And then a club length.
And then a club length.
And the end of the club length was just barely on the grass?
Yeah, that's right.
So he's taken relief from the shoe. He's marked the spot below on the path, put his club down, his driver in this case, marked it out. It's on the grass, but he's still standing on the cart path.
Correct. And people are going, why is he still allowed to stand on the cart path? He wasn't taking relief from the cart path. He was taking relief from the movable obstruction, the cart.
So, and just to recover on the second point, he could have dropped on the path, said, look, I'm going to take the ball out of here. Here's the spot where the ball should be. I'll drop it here. It rolls off. I'll drop it here. It rolls off. And then I'll take relief from the cart path. Yeah.
That's right. But he obviously skipped that step and didn't even need to do that.
Okay. Fairly simple.
And Craig Perks, another Kiwi, and he won the Players' Championship in 2004. So Frank Noblo, Craig Perks, both Kiwis. Hopefully I'll be the next Kiwi on the PGA Tour broadcast.
That's the real motivation, by getting all these YouTube followers up. So let's try and help Blakey get onto the PGA Tour. If he keeps giving good advice and good discussion, as is the name, he'll get there. Now,
last one. Yep.
One of my favourite players, Viktor Hovland.
Yeah, he sort of crashed a little bit on the fourth round. We were really looking forward to a really good show off, really good showdown between Viktor and Patrick, but it just did not quite arise.
I'll try and play it without playing the intro, but if you do see the intro on the new YouTube videos and you think, here's that other Muppet in there, here's the old boy in there playing out of a cup onto the square green at Lonsdale, that's me. That was good fun doing that, playing for that little rules scenario that we recorded. I can't wait for you to show that if it comes out all right. But yeah, that's Blakey's new little edited video of he and I playing golf together. Fun day.
Oh, here he's taking a drop. Okay, not allowed to get closer to the hole. Shay Knight, his man on the bag. Actually, Shay told me recently that there's a different intensity in Viktor Hovland this year. He said he goes into every week thinking he can win, expecting to win, and is playing very well.
these branches are coming to play here. So do you want a club to work out where the... It's fine. It's fine. Okay. For sure.
That was good advice, telling him to be careful where the ball rolls to. Does he going to have a backswing?
Softer bounce more on this side. As long as we don't have any obstruction with the branches.
Okay, he'll test that, just see if he's... Yeah, that was a good call, Shay.
Okay.
And if there is any good news about where he's taken to drop, it's giving him a little bit more room to maneuver with on the green. Although from this angle, Ian, everything's running away from you.
Okay, now he'll place it exactly where it landed. That's the protocol, and where the ball...
Now it's like it rolled back again. Like I put it here and then rolled back again. You need to replace it. Yeah. Yeah. Now I picked it up. I picked it up again. It went back in the hazard though? No, it didn't. Like you just, like I tried to put it back to... Can we get a rules official, please? Yeah. Send someone over. I don't think I did anything wrong.
Well, we've got Ken Tackett with us, and I'm sure Ken will be able to explain this quite simply. It's a simple rule, Ken.
Yeah, that's right, Ian. He tried to drop it twice, and it wouldn't stay in the...
Twice.
I'll let him talk.
Both rolled out. So I tried to place it where it landed, but it moved. So I picked it up again to do so. Like, that's fine, right? I just move it back to where it... No, like, it didn't... Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he needs to place it on the spot that it first hit the course. And because the ball rolled back, he would try to do it again. So he's going to try to place it twice, and then he'll find a spot that it'll come to rest without rolling.
Twice.
So you can see in that situation why he was questioning what had happened. You know, he's clearly going about trying to do the right thing very, very well. Wonderful to hear so many Australian accents in that little snippet. I don't know who Shay is, his caddy, but obviously an Aussie. So yeah, he's just to describe the situation. He's taken relief. He's dropped the ball from knee height. It's rolled back into the penalty area. He's dropped it again, and then he's gone to place it. When he placed the ball and removed his fingers, the ball's rolled off that point, and he just picked it up. And then the ball didn't roll back into the penalty area, but he then immediately went into, oh, am I okay to pick it up because it hasn't rolled into the penalty area? Is that a right description, David?
Yeah, spot on. So when he placed it, and it's quite funny when they're placing it and the grass is sort of a bit spongy, when he's placing it, you know, you're placing it and you're supposed to let go and the ball's at rest where you placed it. But many times that we see in the video, it rolls, and even rolls a centimetre. And so you didn't actually place it at rest. So he had to try about 7 times before he was able to find a spot. And you're not allowed to push it into the ground. In this case, you just got to try and place it on the ground where it will come to rest. So he finally got to a position where he placed it and it stayed at rest.
Do you think that the weekend club golfers amongst us fully understand that when they're placing, that they can't exert any force on the ball to get it to stay in a spot, you know, if on the side of a hill or that sort of thing?
The scary thing is, in that situation, Rossco, I would say that 98% of club golfers would get it wrong. Out of 100, 98%.
Yep.
Well, so that is what 98% equals.
So they exert pressure to get the ball to stay on a spot.
Yeah, that's right. Or they place it, it rolls half a centimetre, and they go, "Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it."
What
it's it's on camera. What can the player do? He has to do it as the rules say, or otherwise he's going to get branded. Well, that wasn't right or whatever. So, Viktor did everything correctly there. And there you go. There's a situation we're all having on camera. We're all going to go, yep, Viktor plays by the rules. Nothing untoward about how Viktor plays the game. And, Bobby Jones, that famous incident where he called a penalty on himself when his ball moved after he addressed it, and no one else saw it. He called a penalty on himself. No one could sort of believe that. And he said, and they applauded him. And he said, "Why are you applauding me for just playing by the rules of golf? That should just be the standard." It's, this is a misquote, obviously, but that should just be the standard. And you might as well, to applaud me for playing by the rules of golf, you might as well applaud someone for not robbing a bank. It's a great quote.
Just in the example that we were talking about, if you can't get your ball to place and come to rest in that place, what are the options there?
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened with Viktor. He couldn't get to stay at rest on the spot where it first hit the ground on the redrop in the relief area. So then he's placed it twice and it still wouldn't come to rest. So now he's trying to place it at a spot no nearer the hole, still in the general area. And so he's had to move it a couple of bits around. And he might have, from the initial spot, it might be, 5 or 6 inches, 10 centimeters from where the initial spot was, but that is the nearest spot in the most similar lie sort of thing that he could get it to come to rest.
Okay.
Now, it was so close to being in the penalty area, but it didn't cut any of that line, so it wasn't in the penalty area. His club was when he was addressing the ball, but that doesn't mean that he gets free relief or has to take complete relief or anything like that. Now, he was also standing in the penalty area when he played the shot, but there's no free relief for that. You're not even taking penalty relief if you want to get away from that situation, because it's where the ball is. It's not where you're standing or where your club is.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's a really valuable one for people to. I'm not sure if we've really covered that off in the past in the previous 26 episodes, but I think those scenarios are pretty common amongst us golfers out there. And if you've got a little bit of insight into that scenario, well, happy for you to have that. And thank you, Blakey, for bringing that to our attention. And thanks, Viktor. What a great young player! I love watching Viktor Hovland, and he'll be right. He'll win a couple of big ones along the way.
You certainly will.
Okay. Blakey, have we covered off all of those scenarios from Torrey Pines? Nothing from the European Tour emanating over the Twitter spheres?
No, I didn't see anything. So we'll concentrate on that. The Saudi Arabia this week. So, who knows what Patrick Reed's over there. So you never know. Something might pop up. There's sand over there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. There is. It was interesting. Paul Casey was a very admirable winner at the Dubai Desert Classic, and I said in the My Love of Golf podcast, I'm a big fan of Paul Casey. On the 16th hole, closing round, he's got like a 4-shot lead, and he has just these horrible lies, which were every bit as bad as what Patrick Reed's were. Now, obviously, it wasn't raining and had been playing lift, clean, and place and all that sort of thing, so the scenario is different, but it just made you think about, here he is just hacking it out of the long grass that he couldn't see. It's irrelevant to what we're talking about, but just it was an interesting contrast of seeing two players go about challenging situations, both going on to win.
Yep.
Well done, Paul Casey. Now, background bingo.
Background bingo. So yours was Lonsdale Links. That was pretty easy.
Yes, it was. Andrew Miller correctly pointed out the 16th hole.
The road hole template.
Yeah, so you can see the green there behind me. So what makes a road hole sort of template is the shape of the green, a little bit of a sort of peanut style. It has like a pot bunker sort of central to the green structure, and then an out of bounds adjacent to the green. So if you look at the road hole, the 17th hole at St Andrews, what a beautiful hole, and has that same sort of featuring the small pot bunker, the peanut shape, long bunker, the road, and then the out of bounds past the road. So very nice little green complex it was indeed. So well done, Andrew Miller, again. But you didn't quite get Blakey's background.
Yeah, so mine was Chris Clark, newbie to the background bingo fraternity. Got the national old course, because there's 3 courses down there. The 7th hole, which is a par 3 and one of the most photographed holes in Australia.
Yeah, it's a sensational hole. It's not overly long, depending on the way of the wind. If you're getting a bit of a southerly wind into your face, it could be anything from a 7 or 8 iron. But in normal conditions, from a reasonable teeing ground, it is a pitching wedge. Great hole over a ravine of golf ball death. There are many golf balls down in that ravine. You do not go down there and get it back. You have very little opportunity to be short, but it's a wonderful hole. Very, very photogenic hole with the bass straight in the background. It's just a marvelous course. Robert Trent Jones course down there in the Mornington Peninsula, West there are of 2. Robert Trent Jones Jr., I think, and the Cape Shank course just next door is also Robert Trent Jones. So for the international guests on the podcast, if you are wanting to start to learn a little bit more about the area that we're sitting, or where I'm sitting, Mornington Peninsula, we've got the national and the 3 courses. We've got a Tom Doak, the Gunnamatta course, the new course, wonderful golf experience down there. Played that October last year, not last year, the year before, sorry. We've got a Greg Norman course, so Bob Harrison and Greg Norman did the Moona course. Wonderful, wonderful golf course. Probably my favourite of the 3. But you never knock back an opportunity to go and play the old course. It is magnificent, very hard, but a lot of fun. Great course. 3 totally different golf courses. And if you ever get the opportunity to get down to Australia, go and play it. If you ever get the opportunity to be invited to go and play there with one of the members as a guest, go and do it. You drive in, you crest the hill, you see the 3 golf courses or 2 golf courses laid out in front of you. The old course is up on the hill on the left, but all you can see is land, which if you look at it, it just looks like golf course land. So you could have 7 golf courses down there. It's unbelievable, and everyone should experience the National, Cape Shank, and the Mornington Peninsula for golf. There you go. There's my promotional visit Cape Shank and Mornington Peninsula piece.
So what's the one you got in your background? Any hints?
Well, it's a beautiful photo from Nick Wall from Airswing Media. If you trail his back catalogue, you will find it there. The hint is this. I refer to my wife in many of the podcasts that I'm part of. She figures pretty largely in the world of golf for me. She hates golf, but she figures pretty large because she's 50% of my life, and my life is 100% of golf. So that's a big chunk, but she doesn't like golf. The point of it is her parents are Irish, as I probably mentioned. This course is in the hometown of my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's hometown is in this part of Ireland, not Scotland. This is Ireland. So, it's an Irish links, and it's my mother-in-law's hometown. If you trail through the back catalogue of My Love of Golf podcast, the answer is in there somewhere. You have to listen to many podcasts, and please do. I need a bit of bump up. I need a bit of Golf Rules Questions podcast listen to love. The answer is in there, but it's Ireland, it's West Coast. It's I'll give you a hint. Okay, it's County Mayo. That's where my beautiful mother-in-law is from. And hello to Agnes. She won't be listening. She hates golf too.
Mine is back in my home country, not too far away from where my parents live, which if you've been listening to our podcast, you certainly should know that by now. And they have played a New Zealand Open here and a New Zealand Women's Open. So that should give it away.
It's not Whakatane, is it?
It's Waiwhakamukau.
Oh. You're going to have to put it explicit now on the podcast. That's actually
that's a name.
Yeah, I know, a racehorse, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Waikikamukau anyway.
No, it's where the fuck are we?
Oh, jeez. Now you do have to put explicit on it.
There's no explicit in that. That is an actual pronoun? No, that is an actual, sound in the Maori language.
Okay, so it's not Whakatane.
No, it's not in that island.
Is Whakatane in the North Island?
Yeah.
Have you ever been there? Anything of note there? I'm obsessed with it's in the north there, and I don't know why I want to go there, but there's something about it, and I can't remember if there's a golf course near there. But anyway, there's something that sticks in my mind. If you're from New Zealand,
I don't think I have been there. Is that where Tara Edie is?
yeah, I'm not sure. But if you're from New Zealand, one of the New Zealand listeners, give us a reason to go to on the 10,000 Magical Mystery Golf Tour of New Zealand. Give us a reason to visit Whakatane.
Oh, I got told that there's going to be 2 neighbouring courses to Tara Edie, and they look even better.
We heard it here first. Breaking news.
Yes. Yeah, Sandra Sully with the late news, but yeah, they're in development. I think they're Doak courses as well.
Well, Tom, the beautiful work that he's done over there. One day I'll get there, but yeah, that'd be nice. Can you get us on there? Can you just speak to some people over there, Blake?
Yeah, absolutely. I know some people that work at Tara Edie, so
all right, choice.
Just
let's
drop the old name drop and then go from there.
Blakey. Hello, Blakey here. Who? Where?
Yeah.
Oh, Rossco. Yeah.
Flano.
Oh dear, Flanagan, prolific. This week's GolfRules question of the week, the GRQotW for episode 27. This is a long one. Let me read it, David.
Yeah, I only use one verb. You know how I've got 3 there. Just use one, the one that you like the most.
Okay. I'll probably use the one that I've referred to myself playing the most. So, okay, let's go.
GRQotW episode 27 question. Rossco, what is it?
A player knifes his ball over the green and into his cart. The players all saw and heard the ball hit the cart, but are unable to find it in there after a quick search. Then the player sees what looks like to be his ball in the open pocket of his golf bag, just to realize that the exact same model and make of golf balls, in this case, a TaylorMade TP5 white, from the same sleeve are in there. So here is player A looking at 3 of the same golf balls and not being able to tell which one was the one that he had hit from over the other side of the green. What is the ruling?
Well done, because that was quite tricky to throw out there.
I got caught in the second last line.
Well, there's a lot of small words. I obviously use a lot of small words a lot.
I was disappointed with that read at the end, but I think I got the point across. But basically, in a nutshell, I've knifed the ball. It's hit the cart. We can't find it. In a moment of madness, I book Koepka style. I say, on the fly, there's 3 TP5s in here in the back of this bag. One of them has to be mine, but I'm not sure which one. What happens?
Perfect. I love the surmising at the end.
Very good. Well, that's an interesting question for you to get your teeth around if you are sticking with us at an hour into this podcast. Thank you very much. Are we at the end, Blakey?
Yeah, that was really good. I've actually got a lot of listener questions, so we've got a lot of material over the month of February. We will have a lot of material, and it just keeps coming in. It might even get to a time one day, Rossco, when we're doing 2 a week.
See, we spoke about Mrs. My Love of Golf hating golf and being 100% of my life is golf, and she's 50% of, she's more than 50. I don't know how to frame that up. I think you get what I mean, but every podcast I add to the stable just it detracts from her love of golf. Anyway, I love golf. You love golf. That's why we're here doing more podcasts than anyone else in Australia. Maybe.
And I love it when people don't cheat.
Very good. Well, we've made that point very clearly today on the GolfRules Questions podcast. Thank you for listening. It's time to play the music, and it's time to sign off. Blakey, would you like to say your goodbyes?
Yeah, without rules, there is chaos.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, help us get on these road trips, and we'll see you next week.